Her Royal Majesty, the Superhero Bride of Frankenstein. Written and illustrated by Melinda Taliancich Falgoust. It was the single worst moment of Lizzie's 8 years. A tragic occurrence of Lizzie's worst fear. It wasn't a skeleton, ghost, wolf, or mummy. It was something quite common, but something quite funny. An embarrassing moment stuck fast to her shoe, trailing out through the door and down the hall, too. It rolled past the pumpkins with looks of surprise, past Janitor Wilkins, who widened his eyes, past the Halloween banner hung over the lockers, and into the bathroom. Toilet paper! What a shocker. All the kids in the class and the boy with red hair laughed and pointed to Lizzie. Each one of them stared. Every girl giggled hard until tears filled her eyes. Boys howled till it sounded like chimps were inside. Lizzie's face turned as red as a fire truck's paint. Her freckles connected. She started to faint. But just as she tried to crawl under her seat, the teacher announced their Halloween treat. "Good morning, class," teacher greeted the room. "We're having a contest, the winner of whom will earn the position, but just for a day, of principal." Everyone shouted, "Hooray!" The teacher continued, "The best costume wins." And mean Sophie Tucker just started to grin.
"Lizzie's already got a costume just right. A roll of TP," she sneered out of spite.
Lizzie wished that the ground would swallow her whole. They were all poking fun just because of a roll. When all of a sudden, the most perfect plan popped into her head. She just waved her hand.
"What are you doing?"
Sophie asked nosily.
"I'm Queen Lizzie, of course. Here's my train. Can't you see?"
She was waving quite royally all the way to her seat, while the paper trailed regally there at her feet. "So very clever," the teacher then said. But the laughter still rippled. Liz scratched her head. She gathered the paper, stuffed some into her shirt. In a hero-like voice, she started to blurt. "Dum-dee-dee-da!" Then just like a cape, the paper flew out like a long flowing drape. "I can add double digits in one single try, strong enough to shoot chocolate milk from my eye." The giggles continued, but started to change. Lizzie's fun was contagious. It was almost a game.
"Give us another, one scary and fun."
Lizzie thought for a moment and came up with one. She tousled her hair and teased up the height. Then she weaved in the paper a bold strip of white. "I'm Frankenstein's bride," she moaned kind of spooky, then walked with straight legs. It looked kind of kooky. "Such clever ideas," the teacher proposed. But mean Sophie Tucker just stuck up her nose.
"My costume's better, the greatest around. I'll be the best, the winner hands down."
"Why, Sophie," fussed teacher, "that's terribly rude. You'll never win anything with that attitude." Sophie said sorry, but Lizzie could tell. Her fingers were crossed. A few toes as well. The bell clamored loudly to signal for lunch. They stumbled together, a Halloween bunch. Dracula's cape fluttered over the zombie who stepped on the tail of the werewolf named Tommy. "Off with the costumes," the teacher declared. "Hang everyone up. After lunch, they'll be there." The children obeyed. Even Drac left his teeth. Each one except Sophie, that horrible sneak. When the children returned, they were shocked and alarmed. The costumes were missing, each one of them. Gone. "Start up a search," the teacher proclaimed. "They've certainly got to be here." And the children did search, up high and down low, quite far and also quite near. They looked in the bowl that held the class fish. They looked, but nothing was there. They looked in the gym. They searched the whole band. They looked in the lunch lady's hair. The minutes ticked by. The party was close. Not one costume could even be found. Lizzie heard a small giggle and thought it was strange. So wisely, she followed the sound. Sophie looked smug, her arms folded tight. Lizzie suspected foul play, when a brilliant idea came all at once. Super Lizzie could save the day. With just minutes left before the big bash, Lizzie scooped up her pile of tissue. She tore it in pieces, some big and some small, to solve the class-lost costume issue. She wrapped Ben up tight like an old pharaoh mummy, and Jill she turned into a ghost. Tommy was changed to a masked, caped Avenger, the costume that Lizzie liked most. Lizzie whirled and she twirled, she made prim ballerinas, she cut and she snipped and she tied. And when she was finished, each kid was disguised. She sighed and she looked on with pride. Sophie just sneered. She curled up her lip.
"There's still no way you can win. You don't have a costume because everyone else is wearing your paper inventions."
Lizzie looked down. Sophie was right. There was not even 1 extra inch. She'd helped all her friends make their costumes, but now she found herself in a pinch. The bell jangled loudly, the children lined up. It was finally time for the party. Lizzie wasn't too sad. She had done the right thing. Sophie wasn't that much of a smarty. The party was fun. There were lots of great games. Pin the nose on the pumpkin and then bobbing for apples, and then it was time to find out exactly who'd win. 3rd place went to Tommy. He might have scored 2nd, but he pinned his nose on the teacher. Ben the Mummy took 2nd for looking just like the late-night TV creature feature. 1st place went to Addie and Abby Adair, twin tutus flying high overhead. The children all clapped, they whooped and they cheered. Teacher signaled for quiet instead. The costumes were grand, we loved every one, but the best, the top of the line, goes to the girl who made every one, Her Royal Majesty, the Superhero Bride of Frankenstein.
You are listening to Confetti Park, a podcast brought to you by ConfettiPark.com.